Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be talking about episode 7 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. So before we get started, this episode is basically split with two stories that connect together. It's a part 1, so it's going to have multiple parts to the actual storyline. Um, so here we go. I took some notes. That way I can give out more proper information. So to begin with, Aang, Katara, and Sokka, they're flying on Appa, and they're actually above the clouds, and they're kind of talking about clouds, and they're questioning if they can actually fall on them, and I guess use them as like a pillow or like a bed and bounce off them. And while Aang falls down and jumps, and he falls through the cloud, and he comes back up using his airbending, of course, and he dries himself off because he gives us a scientifical thing that clouds are made out of rain. So that's pretty cool. So you get a little tip if you didn't know that. So it's always good for the younger ones to get a little science thrown at them. Um, so they're flying in the sky. They're up there, and below them they see this filled with pitch black darkness. It's burnt to ashes. They come down to land to check it out, and Aang's just kind of hanging around there, and he's like upset and in misery, looking down at this burnt, like ashes, rubble, trees missing, and Katara is basically calming him down, trying to calm him down, while he's sitting there upset. So Aang's just upset because his avatar, he's actually supposed to be fighting and keeping peace and saving things like this forest. And well, what happens is that Katara basically shows him these acorns and says to him that you can still save it using these acorns to grow new trees. And yeah, it calms him down quite a bit. So coming to the second story, we get to see Sokka and his uncle, and they're kind of having a chit chat, and his uncle's just chillaxing. They made a pit stop actually at the hot springs, and his uncle's just sitting in there while Zuko's telling him that they're closing in on the Avatar and they need to get going. And as he was about to get out, I guess it was like one of those naked things where they can't actually show it, so it's like covers himself before he can get out. And he's like, "I'll just wait on the ship for you." And we actually get to figure out his uncle's name during that conversation, and his uncle's name is Iroh. So that's awesome to know. So we're getting names, we're getting more information, but for me, more names, more confusion, and yeah. But I'm sure we'll see this character a lot because he seems pretty important, along with Zuka. So both Zuko are just hanging there, and yeah, Zuko just leaves. So that's that. And then we come back to Aang. Aang is actually asked by this old man. This old man comes out of nowhere, and he approaches Aang and everyone else, and everyone's like, "What the heck?" And he's like, "I knew you were the Avatar whenever I saw the flying bison above the sky." And yeah, he's like, "Our village needs your help urgently." Pretty much, it was severe help. Um, so they go to the village, and actually, what happens is that the village leader actually talks to Aang. That wasn't the village leader. It's like I guess another one of the elders. So they talk to him, and he's talking about how there's this spirit attacking the village at sunset. And as he continues on, he says for 3 nights it's attacked and took villagers. So it's kidnapping people, and yeah. So it's nighttime finally, or sunset, should I say? My bad. It's sunset, and Aang's out there all alone. Everyone's watching out the window. You have the village leader basically saying he's the Avatar, he can do this himself. And to give you some context in what's going in Aang's head, he's questioning it. He doesn't believe he can do it. He's questioning if he can be the Avatar without some type of guidance. And it's kind of where his headspace is. He's not really in the right headspace to actually make this happen. And, well, the spirit, as he's trying to talk to it, and there's nothing there, he's like trying to command it and stuff. Out of nowhere, the spirit shows up and it starts teleporting like crazy, destroying homes. And the village leader's like, he's still confident in the Avatar, but he's also saying that the Avatar is the only one, and that then he finally starts questioning Aang after a while because he's not able to stop this monster from destroying everything. And during all this, both Katara and Sokka are both in panic about Aang because everything's getting beat up. Aang's in danger, and so our bravest person out there is actually got to be Sokka, who avoids everything. He goes out there, he throws a stupid boomerang, and as soon as he throws that boomerang, that thing comes and it teleports towards him and basically comes at him and takes him. And after that, Aang has to fly and follow it. So he's following it, and as Aang touches it and comes in to touches it, it just disappears. So Sokka's gone, and it's crazy. So it's like this misery where Aang feels like he failed terribly. And we kind of get this back shot of where we get to see that Aang is like a ghost. He's one of the spirits in reality, and he's forever stuck. He's like stuck in the spirit form, and we're just like, whoa. So yeah, Katara talking to the leader, questioning where her brother went, and it's just hectic, right? It's just sad, very sad moment. During all this, Uncle Ro actually he's like just hanging out, and out of nowhere, a bunch of guardians from like the Earthbenders. I don't know what city or where they're from exactly. But they come out of nowhere and they arrest him because, you know what I mean. Firebenders are, it's basically criminal because they're killers. You know what I mean. They took over their nation and they fought wars there, and it's anyway. They take him, and that's just he's gone. So during all that, a dragon's coming towards Aang as we see him in ghost form there again. And Aang's trying to use his avatar abilities, and he can't use his abilities, he can't use his glider, he can't use anything that he can use in the real world. As his dragon comes closer to him, it sits in front of him, and it touches him with, I guess, like a tentacle. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but it basically uses brainwaves to speak to him and tell him who he is. It's actually Avatar Roku's guidance pet. And during all this, between all this, we get to see Iroh actually fall down and just be stupid. And basically what he's doing, he's really smart, is he's leaving a trail of different stuff he's wearing. So he obviously didn't have any clothes on because he was still inside that hot tub, or the hot spring, should I say. And he's left sandal. He's probably left something else. Oh, his clothes, obviously, and a sandal. And he's a really smart man. We actually get to figure out that Iroh's the great general of the West, used to be, at least during this. So that's very important. So whenever Aang figures out this dragon who he is, they travel to this volcano island, and at this volcano island, there's a statue of Avatar Roku, and he's kind of confused because he wanted to see Avatar Roku to give him guidance. That's what he asked from the dragon to begin with. Is he's trying to get guidance on how to fix the situation, and what happens is he uses his brainwaves yet again. There's this beam near the statue, but not quite on it. We actually figure out that. So this is, I guess, the hint of the horror deal. The forest was actually this like giant eruption that came out of the sky, or like this giant like fire missile thing that came down. So it's either that hinting at the forest and what happened that way, or it happened to Avatar Roku, but I'm pretty sure it happened to the forest. That was the part I was kind of confused on. But what we do know is, in order to talk to Avatar Roku, he has to wait right on the exact date to where the light hits the statue. And he's like, I can't wait that long. So the dragon and them, they make way out of there because Aang is in urgency to go and get rid of the spirit and go get his friend back. So as he's passing, we actually get to see Uncle Ro, and he looks up and he sees them, which is crazy. And I'm pretty positive he saw Aang and the dragon both. So it tells me that his uncle is very, very important in this world deal and is very powerful. Not only as the trainer of Prince Zuko, but as a great war general that once was. I think he once fought for, it was either 300 days or 600 days or something crazy. And, well, they technically lost, but that's still very impressive. So since he saw him, he asked the guards to tighten his handcuffs, and what it does is it gets them to get close, and since he's a firebender, you'll never guess, he actually heats up the handcuffs as they're tightening them, because he makes this comment about them being too loose. And he's an old man, so they're kind of, you know what I mean, they fall into that stereotype of him being old and complaining, and they go to actually tighten it, and he uses his heat on the cuffs, and the cuffs burn his hands. He still has his cuffs on, but he's able to use firebending through his feet, and it was cool. So he runs away, and during all that, Aang actually gets to this statue. It's a bear statue, and they're heading right towards it, like in vertical line. It's like of it, and Aang, what he does is this is what we see. We see him basically meditating on top of it. So it's like him being in third person. So it's like a third eye awakening in a lot of terms of things. But the statue is of a giant bear. And the dragon just heads straight to it. Aang goes into the statue, and he's like scared and freaking out. He falls down from this bear, and he's back in his actual body. So, meditating the spirit. Okay, I'm just looking back at my notes real quick. So, they come back to the village. It's getting ready to be the next night. So, it's at the 24-hour period, basically, at this moment. So, sunset's about to come, is what I meant. So, it's sunset. Aang's ready to fight again. And before that, I actually should talk about his uncle. Uncle Roll actually got caught because he's still handcuffed, and he's captured again. He falls down, and he's in a bunch of like rocks. But we'll come back to that. It's not as important as the main story. So let me get that straight first. So Aang, he's back and ready to fight again. He's waiting for the spirit to come, and the spirit comes, and he's trying. First of all, it attacks. First thing, it attacks, and he uses his wind to create this force-filled circle. It's destroying homes again, and Aang actually approaches it and touches it on its head. And while he's touching it, we get to see the inner, like its inner self, and its inner self was actually that bear. And he starts talking to the bear, and he puts 2 to 2. The reason this bear slash spirit was actually attacking was because it was upset about the forest being destroyed. And what Aang does to solve the conflict is he does what Katara did to him, and he shows them the acorn. The spirit grabs the acorn, and as soon as it picks it up, it changes into a panda. And this panda, it walks away, and as it walks away to the village exit, it makes out. And out of nowhere, this bamboo grows, and within that bamboo, we get to see Sokka come out. All the villagers come out, and it's just incredible. So 24 hours, that's what we do know from this. And during all that, Uncle Ro actually, his hands are about to get crushed because they're like, he's dangerous. This man is dangerous. They're going to crush his hands. They're going to take away his bending. What he's done is worse than a crime. Before he can actually go back to the Earth Kingdom, they're just going to take away everything he's got and forbid him from ever earthbending ever, not earthbending, but firebending ever again. Sorry about that, was a mistake. So he's ready to get his hand crushed. They have this rock and they're ready to put it down. His hands are like this. They're like bound like this on a rock. As they're ready to put the rock down, out of nowhere, Zuko comes and he moves it out of the way, and this big fight starts breaking down, and it's just crazy. You know, they're going ham. Him and his uncle are like the best duo ever right now. It's just crazy. In the end, these guards, they stood no chance for both of them. I forgot to mention during this, Zuko actually saw Katara that was searching for her brother, but the whole thing didn't really matter much. But obviously, Zuko is, I will say one thing, he is a good character in the term of that he knows that saving his uncle is more important than tracking down the Avatar. It's very much more important. And he's a good character in his own right now. And he's, I guess you could say, sleeper character in a lot of terms, because he's made out to be this huge villain right now. But I see some good in him in reality. So, in the end, Aang solves this conflict. And, yeah. So, we get to the final part. Everyone's kind of sitting around in a circle talking. And we get to know what the next mission is for the gang. And Aang has to stay another night. And he has to go back to that statue and let the light hit. That way he can talk to the Avatar. So Avatar Roku can come and help him. And you know what that means? There's a plot twist. This is a huge plot twist. The island that they're at, that was like a volcano type of island, it's actually a part of Fire Nation. So whenever they go here, it's going to be very dangerous. So stay tuned. Tomorrow I'm going to try to get a video out. I've been having a little bit of a sickness thing going on, but I'm going to try to fight through it. We're going to have a Trucker Bass video. And yeah, I always have fun with these. Let me know what you guys think. I think this was a fantastic episode, and they gave us an episode that was quite memorable. And they figured out a way to make it into an episode where it's like just one episode like a cartoon, but also make it continue to where there's a continued story. So I'm always pleased with something like that. So it's catering to the older audience as well. And I guess I'm going to rate it like this. I think this episode is, I'm going to say it's an 8.8. I liked it. It was pretty great. I've enjoyed it compared to a couple of episodes. Anyway, guys, tell me what your thoughts are. Did you think I was being a little too harsh on it? And yeah, tell me if this is one of your favorite episodes. Anyway, guys, I hope the best for you. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and stay safe. Peace, guys.